So I light one and you light the two.
Sure, we can do that. Each of us lights one. It's a bit like your transmission of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice to be hosted on your ferry today, and thanks for hosting us also in your office. Apart from being a sailor, you're also quite a pioneer in the reuse world in architecture. Created several firms and initiatives that are all related to reuse, like Bouwbureau in situ, like Denkstadt, Rewin also, Circular, and probably many more. I know you are also one of the pioneers of the Bouwteilbeurzen, the material banks in which we can go and look for reused materials if we want to design new buildings with them. It was really an honor for me to be called your colleague at ETH Zurich and to have this opportunity to work together on Elise's master thesis, but also on different teaching projects and on the Library of Reuse in the end. So it would be nice if we have a bit of an overview of your coming into this topic so many years ago and your trajectory into the different firms.
Yeah, sure. It has to do with Africa, of course, because after these 10 years working in Africa, I came back to Basel and I couldn't stand anymore the waste we are producing, the luxury we are living in, and I was thinking on what can I do to change this world. And I started to think about my own profession. There was something very new by that time. It was called internet. Nobody knew it. And I realized that it will have a very big spreading capacity. So I thought of making a platform on internet where you could announce things which are not used by somebody anymore, but would be a valuable resource for somebody else. So it was just a matter of bringing the two together. This sounds very simple. It isn't.
No, I know.
As you know. And I was very happy to know you and to hear that you are now putting all your know-how and your skills into improving this platform, improving the digital means which have been developed in the meantime in the use of this reuse.
Yes, in the class that we all collaborated on, where we were exploring the different digital technologies that are emerging now, like AI or extended reality or all of the tracking and tracing technologies or blockchain, how this can help with the reuse of building materials. You mentioned that you worked in Africa, I think it was in Tanzania, right?
Yes.
But you're from Switzerland, you're from here, I think, from Basel?
Yes, from Basel.
Can you also say maybe a bit about this traveling? I also think you spent some time in Portugal and how reuse also compares in these different cultures.
What I observed in Africa, in the University of Dar es Salaam, is that there was no waste. Why do we produce so much waste? And how could we avoid this? In Switzerland, labor cost is so high that you cannot afford to even select the still good things from the waste and use them again. So we engage jobless people by taking this waste stuff out of the building demolition site, polishing it up, selling it, giving it a price. And we were one agency who occupied the people and tried to train them, to give them a daily structure and to give them a value.
I'm from Belgium and I worked a lot with also reuse firms in Belgium. And one of the things that struck me in all of these reuse firms in Belgium is how it gives dignity to the workers. Like working for a bigger purpose, like the environment, like reducing waste, like building beautiful buildings with reused materials, giving also value not just to the materials, but also to the energy that went into it, to the labor that went into it, and the history of the materials.
Absolutely, I fully agree. Yeah. We also have many people applying for jobs in our office, and then they say, I want to quit architecture, I don't see any sense in it, but if I could work with you, I would continue. Yeah, and I mean, it's the future. It's about our future, and especially the future of your generation. You will suffer from what we started and what we did the last 60 or let's say 80 years. Because before that, before the, let's say the Second World War, people also in Switzerland, they didn't produce so much waste. They didn't live in such a luxury. They took care of the old things. They made beautiful furniture like this one, and they gave it over to the next generation and so on. And it's only from, I would say, starting from the 60s that everything was optimized towards more profit, more quickly made money. And this is the problem, the underlying problem, I think.
I mean, we talk a lot about fast fashion and stuff like that, but we see it also in buildings, in furniture, and like things that we make today are not always made with durability in mind.
We should actually get the construction materials as fit for a secondary market as an occasion car. And why does the occasion car business work so well and the construction occasion market doesn't work or is so difficult to get into working?
And what do you think that is?
First of all, a car is movable.
Yeah,
and
it's easy to go back to a factory and then remanufacture it.
And then there are not so many different models. I mean,
true.
there's 10,000 more different materials in the construction. There are at least 20 different skills involved in the construction of a building. In a car, there are maybe 5.
Yeah,
so
and the car manufacturing industry has industrialized and standardized quite a lot. I think in the 80s, there was like a whole movement of reuse in architecture already starting, and then they modularized quite a bit. And then this kind of fell down a bit because people didn't like that standardization of building, because the aesthetics of that is very modular.
As well, exactly.
And so I think then we started having these starchitects and these crazy sculptures, but that don't have in mind like, what do we do when we don't need a building? What I noticed also in my experience in circular construction is that it's always about working with other disciplines. It's like not the architect in the middle or on top, and everyone else just following
trying to make it possible.
Yeah,
I think the construction projects in the future are so complex that it's not possible anymore to have one person on the top. It needs a collaboration of everybody, and I think a university like ETH is a perfect place for that, because they are all there and they could work together.
You've studied at ETH yourself. You saw all the different buildings that ETH taught architecture in. And you came back to ETH in 2022, if I remember correctly, and you taught a studio in the Huber Pavilions.
Yep.
Was that how you started the mission of saving or reusing those Huber Pavilions, or how did you get aware of this potential?
Yeah, because I had not known them. They were not there when I was studying at the Hill. I was so lucky that I could have my class in the Huber Pavilion, because they were perfect.
They were perfect for it.
Environment, there was light, natural light. As I was also teaching in my studio, I was teaching reuse. So I thought, why not start here, right where we are? And then I addressed you, and you also said, yes, we should do something.
I now remember where we met. We met in the Huber Pavilions, actually. You were teaching a reuse studio there. And I was doing research on digital technologies for the reuse of building materials. And I thought, well, this is an opportunity to learn and test these digital technologies on campus. Everyone who studied architecture at ETH since the late 80s had one studio there and really enjoyed these pavilions. And it started to be like a common mission. I guess this is the Huber Pavilions is really what brought us together and what kind of started
we exchanged our know-how and our ideas, and that's where we thought that we would really meet and work in the same direction.
Our friendship started in the Huber Pavilions, basically. Yeah. We both arrived in 2021 and the demolition was foreseen in 2022.
Yeah.
That time when we started trying to save the pavilions was already too late.
It was too late, yeah. I think if you had started with your students analyzing the building, we could have tried a few things out, because, for example, the roof was very easy to dismantle and to reuse. But then the whole wooden construction was glued together, was nailed together, and this was almost impossible to take apart. Once we had some exercise, we dismantled the windows and we could send them to Ukraine, at least a part of them. Yeah. But this kind of work should have been done early enough, and then we could have used much more.
Und du hattest mit mir geteilt die Erfahrung, dass in dem Büro, wo du arbeitest, die meiste Information ausgetauscht wird beim Kaffeetrinken. Und deswegen habt ihr eine gute Kaffeemaschine für das Büro gekauft. Meine Frage ist, was denkst du, ist der Einfluss von diesem Hands-on, von dieser Arbeit, wo man selber erfährt, wie das Gewicht dieser Konstruktion und die Fügung, was für einen Einfluss hat das auf das Verständnis des Themas?
Also ich denke, es ist absolut unabdingbar, dass ein Architekt mal mit Materialien gearbeitet hat. Und am liebsten Holz, Metall und auch andere Materialien. Und am liebsten in verschiedenen Gewerken. Wenn du mal selber das gemacht hast, dann weißt du, kommt das Holz jetzt so oder kommt es auf Gärung oder kommt es so, wird es gefügt, womit wird es gefügt und so weiter. Das hast du alles mal in der Hand gehabt. Du hast auch das Gewicht eines Fundamentblocks im Rücken gespürt. Und dann denkst du anders, wenn du das nachher zeichnest. Ich denke, die Abstraktion über den Computer, über das virtuelle Planen, die ist einfach zu groß. Aber das reicht nicht. Man muss die Materialien mal selber bearbeiten. Und was du vorher von der Kaffeemaschine gesagt hast, das haben wir dann auch noch einmal auf die Spitze getrieben. Wir haben ja selber gekocht. Wir haben als erstes einmal einfach Gemüse und Obst auf die Tische gelegt und dann Bretter und Schneidemesser. Und in 20 Minuten war das ganze Gemüse und Früchte geschnitten und dann konnte ich anfangen. Aber der Anfang war total anders, als wenn du einfach da mal stehst vor einer Klasse und redest.
Can you tell us a bit about the future role of builders who want to engage in this practice and what role they will take in this process?
We realized that it's too much work for an architect to also take care of and look for the construction materials. It's a lot of work to procure, to look for these construction elements, and I'm convinced that it is a profession in itself. You have to first find the material, and this is one of the things I would like to promote now, is that we have storage full of construction materials where an architect can go and choose. It's not the case yet, but we are on the way, and this is how we want to scale up this reuse in the construction industry. That's really now the thing we have to do, and this is digitalization will help it. The existence of big storage facilities. With the digitalization, we have QR codes and everything, which helps the storage, and then the platform, library of reuse, a platform of construction elements where architects can just go to one platform and they will find steel trusses, they will find bricks, they will find roofing material, they will find everything. And Bauteilbörse was just about toilets and washing basins because we just didn't have the money and the capacity. But I think we can do the same system all over the construction materials to build villas and high-rise buildings and everything.
I think it's nice because the teaching also of the next generation is also part of this upscaling,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
All of the students that were in your studio, that were in our class, now have a different way of seeing architecture and construction in the way you talk about
and
buildings.
they bring it into their offices where they work
Exactly.
now. I'm hearing that from several sites, and makes me proud.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. I hear several students saying, like, we go into a conventional architecture office and we question the way that they do things, and then we bring reuse in it. I think that's also something beautiful about the part of our job that is the transmission to the next generation.
and it needs more competitions which are geared towards reuse. It needs more pilot projects on all levels, and because we really want to make it move faster.
Yeah, this is again, you know, it's not just about the architects, it's about the policymakers, it's about the clients, it's about the engineers, it's about the workers. So it's really about changing the entire industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you started it. Yeah.
I started, and we are continuing.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah,
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, me too, and I'm happy that we can work together on it.
I was very happy that you took up the idea of saving at least part of the Huber Pavilions, and I was also really amazed to see how you started to think in these lines and to go further than what I wanted to do. And I think what you do together is making reuse even more attractive than just to take things off and put them on another place.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I learned a whole lot from you, from your teaching style, from your practice, and just from discussing with you as an architect and as a colleague and as a friend. I'm really honored that I am able to call you a friend today. And if they would have told me before I know you that this would be the case one day, that I would not believe it, because you were really, or you still are, an idol for me. You know, like it's like, wow, you made so much possible in architecture. So I feel very honored that ETH gave me this platform to be able to meet inspiring people such as you. And I think I am also very grateful, Elias, that you came into the project. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
I appreciate, but I do believe that I was just at the right place at the right time, having the materials tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I like to see that we are 3 generations, like the 3 candles, and let's blow them out.
Yes, let's do it. Should we do it all together?
1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Whoa, look at the
Wow,
nice
this is so beautiful.
smoke.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara, for taking
Thank
the time
you
to
for
talk to us.
coming. Yeah, no, it's great. I'm really happy that these things go on.